earlier in the day, Uttarakhand rolled out rules for the Uniform Civil Code, which was adopted as a law in the state in the month of February. The UCC remains a hot-button issue in public debate in India, from those who see it as a constitutional mandate to those who see in it an attack on legal diversity, more specifically targeted at the minorities and their faith-based customs. UCC was discussed threadbare in the Constituent Assembly, with the likes of Baba Saheb Ambedkar strongly batting for it. In fact, despite being the chairman of the drafting committee, Ambedkar was mighty sad that the UCC found mention in the directive principles and not immediately implemented. Friends, the UCC debate degenerates often into a Hindu-Muslim one from the word go. The reality is much more complex. It is not a black and white one. While the Muslim resistance might be more pronounced and in some ways obstructionist, there are issues that the Hindu majority also has with the UCC. Part of the reason why this has degenerated into a Hindu-Muslim issue is because the BJP has championed it since its inception in 1980. In its earlier avatar as Jansangh, the UCC was an article of faith in their politics, while the Congress party has time and again went by its appeasement impulse. From the Hindu code bills in the 1950s to the Shah Bano in 1980s, and from Shah Bano to Saira Bano, Congress has let the Muslim street guide its reactions to the Uniform Civil Code. Result has been that the UCC debate, in becoming a BJP versus Congress issue, also has become a Hindu versus Muslim one. It is unfortunate because UCC is about India. It is about progressivism. It is about making India a society where once you are out of your home, you are a common law citizen bound by provisions which see you as a citizen with no reference to your identity. In effect, UCC is about giving precedence to your identity as an Indian over your identity rooted in religion, region, and other differentiators. Let's look at this debate in the light of latest development and see if we can make some move forward from where the Constituent Assembly left in 1948. First up, details of the Uttarakhand rules on the UCC that have been released today. And then I come back with a panel of guests on the other side. The Uttarakhand government has taken the next step to implement the Uniform Civil Code in October. This after the state successfully passed the UCC bill in February earlier this year and received the President's nod. The 9-member panel headed by former Chief Secretary Shatrughan Singh submitted a report with procedural rules to implement the UCC Act.
To let people know what went behind the two drafts that we had submitted to the government regarding UCC. What was the studies taken? What were the issues that were discussed? The public has a right to know about it. That is the effort.
Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami also welcomed the report.
देखिए, यूसीसी हमारा राज्य का बहुत बड़ा राज्यवासियों ने जिस काम के लिए हमको चुना था, मैं उत्तराखंड की जनता को बधाई देता हूँ कि निश्चित रूप से यूसीसी यहाँ लागू होने के बाद अनेक जो कानूनों में आज जटिलताएं हैं वो सरल होंगी, आसानी से लोगों को न्याय मिल पाएगा, सबके लिए एक जैसी व्यवस्था लागू होगी.
With this, Uttarakhand has become the first state in the country after independence to formally adopt the UCC. Experts, including the Law Commission, have noted that the UCC is a law in alignment with our constitutional vision for equality. The development comes just 2 days after the Supreme Court once again held that women have the right to claim maintenance under Section 125 of the erstwhile CRPC, irrespective of their faith. The top court has reaffirmed that secular laws will always take precedence over faith-based customs. For over 75 years, Article 44 of the Indian Constitution has directed the state to strive for a UCC. Is it time for a nationwide UCC rollout? All right, let's debate whether it's time for a national rollout of the UCC after Uttarakhand has completed all the formalities. Joining me for this conversation, Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP. She's joining us live from Mumbai. Shatrughan Nigam, political analyst. He's pro-RSS, leans towards the right, obviously. Live from Delhi, he's a senior advocate of the Supreme Court. We also have Lokesh Jindal on the other side, political analyst, leans towards the Congress party, live from Nagpur. Atikur Rahman, Islamic scholar, live from Mumbai. Manasvi Thapar, advocate and political analyst, also leans towards the Congress party. He's joining us live from Ahmedabad. Anirban Banerjee, political analyst, leans towards the Trinamool Congress. He's joining us live from TMC. Interesting bit that for their politics, the last four names I gave are actually against a possible national rollout of the Uniform Civil Code, which the BJP strongly bats for. We also have Savio Rodrigues, founder and editor-in-chief of Goa Chronicle. He's joining us live from Goa. He leans towards the right, but more importantly, as a Christian, he comes from a state which already has a Uniform Civil Code. Remember, Goa inherited that from Portugal, which was who were their colonial which was the colonial power in Goa at that time. And so I would begin with Savio. And let's unspool it, Savio, that as a Christian citizen of Goa and already practicing Uniform Civil Code, you think it's time now for a national rollout of the UCC. And I also want Vishnu Shankar Jain to be fixed. He's advocate of the Supreme Court. Remember, at the forefront of all the Hindu battles for religious places like Gyanvapi Mosque and the Mathura Krishna birthplace, Lord Krishna birthplace. He's going to join us in a bit, and it's interesting position he's going to take. But Savio, your position, national rollout of UCC soon. Should we go for it?
Abhishek, I believe that India is ready for the Uniform Civil Code. And I say that with all confidence because the Uniform Civil Code in its format in Goa, which was left by the Portuguese and adopted by the Indian government, has been extremely successful. Uniform Civil Code is about ensuring that a citizen of a country gets the rights that are due to them as citizens, and religion does not take precedence over the rights of citizens. So you see in Goa, with the implementation of the Uniform Civil Code, rights for women, for daughters, for children, for wives are so equitably distributed that it is a fair manner in which it has been utilized as far as Goa is concerned. Of course, there are certain changes that are required in that, but when you're looking at it from a national level, India and different states need to look at the Uniform Civil Code because we need to rise above religious domination as far as laws are concerned that sometimes infringe on the rights of citizens, in particular women and wives and mothers, and that's why it's very important from that perspective. Now, when we are living in a democratic country, we are not governed by any religious law. I don't seem to understand why the Uniform Civil Code should be a concern. After all, we claim to be secular, and secular is not the acceptance of all religion in matters of governance. It is the acceptance of no religion in matters of governance, and therefore there should be a uniform law for every citizen.
Right, Savio. Thank you so much for that opening, because remember, I deliberately introduced Savio as a Christian from Goa, and he's strongly batting for the Uniform Civil Code, because next I go to Vishnu Shankar Jain. Remember, senior advocate, he's at the forefront of the Hindu battle to reclaim very important temples, the Gyanvapi being one of them, the birthplace of Lord Krishna in Mathura being another. And interestingly, Vishnu Shankar Jain takes a position against the UCC. So I'll let him speak and put across his position. Vishnu Shankar Jain, over to you.
See, a very good evening to all of you. And my position on Uniform Civil Code is very, very clear. See, in every religious aspect, and seeing today's modern era when conversion is so rampant, can you correct the audio because my voice is echoing to myself?
Can you fix Mr. Jain's echo that he is getting in his earpiece, please, Aditi? Okay. Vishnu Shankar ji, you can start now.
In every religious system, and it's a debate which is going on. Yes. In every religious system, and it's a debate which is going on right now. Every religion is taken as a market. And in today's modern era, when conversion is so rampant, I have not taken the responsibility to correct someone's house. If you see or if you understand this entire debate of uniformity or Uniform Civil Code, can I put a question to myself and all the viewers that in which area, in which arena are we asking for uniformity? Whether the customs by which we are marrying, will there be uniformity? I think anyone or all the panelists will agree that so far as the custom of marriage is concerned, there can be no uniformity. So far as the succession law is concerned, there can be no uniformity because we are governed by Mitakshara and Daya Bhaga law. The Muslim parties are governed by their Muslim personal law, or Christians are governed by their Christian law. So what are the areas where we are looking for uniformity? In this entire debate, my research is that there are two areas where I feel that there can be certain uniformity. That is the age of marriage, and the second is the number of marriage. So far as section 494 of the IPC is concerned, where punishment of bigamy is given, that punishment of bigamy is for the majority population, but that punishment of bigamy is not applicable to the members of the Muslim community. So that has to be uniform. If you are having more than one marriage, it has to be an offense for everyone, because the basic principle of criminal law is that criminal law is uniform for everyone. For example, if someone is committing an act of theft, that theft is an offense for a Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Jain and Sikh, irrespective of his religion. But section 494 of the IPC is the only section where there is no uniformity, which gives an exception on the basis of religion. So that is an area where I feel and believe that there has to be a uniformity, and that exception of religion has to be removed from that part. So far as the second aspect is concerned, is the age of marriage. I feel and I believe that so far as the age of marriage is concerned, it has to be uniform for all the communities, irrespective of their personal laws, because it's a gender justice issue. Apart from that, and I would like to enlighten myself in today's debate, what are the areas where we are looking for uniformity?
Okay, fantastic. So the debate is set. Savio, as a Christian from Goa, says that we should have...
Please correct my audio because it's very difficult.
I would request the PCR to please fix Mr. Vishnu Shankar Jain's audio. In the meantime, Sanju Verma and Lokesh Jindal, the BJP versus the Congress. Now, Sanju Verma, isn't that a Dharam Sankat proposition coming in from Vishnu Shankar Jain to you? You want the UCC, but Vishnu Shankar Jain says, no, it's not needed. Even we have diversity in Hinduism, and we would want to preserve our customs, and the UCC is okay so long as it's dealing with two aspects, which is age of marriage and the number of marriages. Apart from that, we don't need it.
You know, I think both Savio and Vishnu Shankar Jain, they made very, very pertinent and interesting points. Coming from Mr. Vishnu Shankar Jain, I don't think he basically said that he's against Uniform Civil Code, lock, stock and barrel. He basically gave out areas where UCC is a plausible option, when it concerns matters of gender justice, or where he said, bigamy is punishable by law for Hindus, and it should be made, similar for all other religions. So I think he's basically put caveats, and he's not rejecting the idea of UCC en masse. That is my point number one. But I want to just give a very, very, simple spin to the entire thing, because as you rightly said in your introduction, Abhishek, UCC is not about Congress versus BJP or BJP versus Samajwadi Party or Hindus versus Muslims or Muslims versus Christians. First and foremost, let's get this very clear. Point number one, under Article 44, which talks about directive principles of state policy, Uniform Civil Code should have been applied within the entire territory of India as envisioned by the founding fathers of our constitution. We are 70 years too late. This should have happened not yesterday or day before yesterday, but at least 7 decades back. And look at the irony and travesty of fate that you and me and all the rest of us are still debating and dissecting this issue. So first and foremost, this is mandated by constitution. It was never given legal sanctity because directive principles of state policy are not legally compulsory. But that does not take away from the sanctity of UCC as a plausible and practical concept. Point number two, let me address the elephant in the room. Muslims have been saying, why should we have uniform civil code? Because we have been given freedom of religion under Article 25 of the Constitution. So I have this to say to the Muslim community, any right, when it is fundamental, does not function in a vacuum, because the very Constitution which gives you civil liberties and fundamental rights, including right to equality under Article 14 or right to freedom of religion under Article 25, the Constitution clearly says every right is subject to public order, morality and health. So this argument that, UCC aayega to mera freedom of religion under Article 25, that is going to be crushed, I think that is a whole lot of balderdash. Point number three, people ask, Hindus haven't changed. Why are Muslims being asked to abandon their personal law? So here I will just in 10 seconds tell you, Hindu religion is the one that has been the most progressive over decades, over centuries. Sati was banned way back in 1829. Child marriage was banned way back in 1930. Polygamy was banned way back in 1860 and was made a criminal offense way back in 1955 for Hindus. And lo and behold, dowry was made a punishable offense in 1961. So to say that Hindus have not progressed or evolved, that is again a whole lot of balderdash.
Right. Because
we have changed with the changing times and it is time for the others to follow suit. But my most important argument, I'll finish in 20 seconds, is this. Bar when controversial issues arise, people say, Supreme Court jo kahega, hum manenge.
Yeah.
So be it the 1996 Supreme Court judgment of Molly Joseph versus George Sebastian or the 2017 judgment where Justice Keir and Justice Chandrachud, while once again listening to the Molly Joseph versus George Sebastian case, clearly said that personal laws run subservient to the Constitution of India, and to reduce conflicts in today's society, personal laws need to be codified into a uniform civil code, and this was also mentioned by Justice Pratibha Singh of the Delhi High Court in December 2021, where she said that today's youth wants to resolve conflicts pertaining to marriage, divorce, inheritance and succession, and the faster this is done, the better. And the only way to do it is to have a codified uniform civil law, just like we have a uniform criminal jurisprudence by way of the Indian Penal Code, which has now been replaced by the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita.
Right,
so I
Sanju
think the
Verma.
Constitution is very clear, the Supreme Court is very clear, the founding fathers of our Constitution were very clear.
Right,
we can
Sanju.
have nuanced approach, like Vishnu Shankar Jain said, but let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Absolutely. In fact, now I want to get Lokesh Jindal and Atikur Rahman into the debate. Lokesh first. Lokesh, Sanju Verma of the BJP says that it's 70 years too late if the rollout of UCC is happening now, even if partially in one state. Also, a very valid point that Sanju made is that Hindus as a community have been open to reform of their customs and traditions to make them in line with modernism, progressivism, while the other communities have not, and hence been an impediment, and that impediment should go. Lokesh Verma.
Yes, good evening, Abhishek. Abhishek, yes, there's no denial of the fact that we do need a uniform civil code. However, if the social conditions are not conducive to the introduction of laws, the laws, they become ineffective. For example, Section 498, which prohibits dowry, is ineffective because we see the practice still widely prevalent in the Hindu society. despite dowry being made a criminal offense, still it has not been able to bring any solution to this malpractice. The whole idea is, when we talk about Uniform Civil Code, the Constitution itself recognizes all forms of diversity. We have Schedule 5, Schedule 6 of the Constitution. We have special provisions mentioned in the Constitution. Moreover, even Article 14, it talks about due process of law, so equal protection of laws. So when you're talking about Article 14, equal protection of laws, it asks equals to be treated alike. So the point is, with respect to education, literacy, socio-economic status, we see a diversity prevalent in the country, and imposition of a uniform civil code which will facilitate a better judicial administration and a better form of, I would say, judicial delivery system.
Okay.
Still, there would be various sections who will not be able to avail benefits from it. Rather, they would be deprived from justice because they would be left nowhere.
Okay.
Neither would their traditional customs be recognized, nor they would be accustomed to what will be the change that will come forward. So I would say, yes, reforms are needed, but gradually, along with the bottom-up approach, they must be introduced while considering every aspect of society.
Okay,
Yes, Abhishek.
I think, Lokesh, the point that you make on equal protection of the laws was a little twisted logic. I'll come to that later, but I want to get in Atikur Rahman on this. Atikur Rahman, now as I introduce Savio as a Christian from Goa, can I introduce you as a Muslim, because you are after all Islamic scholar, and then hear you on what the Muslims of India essentially take a position on the Uniform Civil Code. Remember what Vishnu Shankar Jain said, that it's not my responsibility to reform others. In a way, he was indicating that while the Hindu community has reformed a lot, the objective of Uniform Civil Code, which it now seems to have become reforming the Muslim community, is not his responsibility. If Muslims have to reform, they have to reform themselves. Also, if the age of marriage is taken care of, if the number of marriages are taken care of for an individual, that much is fine. Would you seem to be in agreement with Vishnu Shankar Jain?
Fine, Abhishek, as a researcher on Islamic studies, first of all, I would like to call myself as an Indian first, and second as a Muslim, because religion is my personal affair. I can practice it within my ambit. I adhere by the Constitution of India. What is supreme in India is the Constitution, not my Sharia. Point number two is, a UCC which is religion agnostic is acceptable. A UCC based on gender equality and gender justice is acceptable. But a UCC to me is not at all acceptable if it infringes upon the rights of the couple, the young couple being slave to the bureaucrat and their parents. Why is the Uttarakhand UCC infringes upon the rights of the young couples opting for Special Marriages Act? Is this modernism? Is this pragmatism? Is this the way BJP treats our youth? That's a very, very big question you need to seek from the ruling regime.
Atikur Rahman, I really welcome your statement that Constitution is supreme, not Sharia. And thank you so much for giving this perspective. But I just want to again ask you whether what you are saying is actually the view of the Muslim street, of the great majority of Muslims in the country. Would you say that this is also the view of the large mass of Muslim community? I want to have that clarity.
Unfortunately, this is not the reality, Abhishek. We need to reform ourselves. There has not been any reformist leaders within the Muslim community after Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, the Banatwalas, the Tayyabjis, and Dr. Rafiq Zakarias. We need reformist leaders, not political leaders. Unfortunately, that has not been done in India. We are a minority community which needs reforms like Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, Malaysia, Egypt, Morocco, wherein reforms had been taken place, or gender justice and gender right equalities have been preserved as it was during the Prophet Muhammad's time. We have failed to do it. It's unfortunate on our part.
Okay, thank you so much again, Atikur Rahman, for the kind of candor and honesty you have shown on national television. Hopefully, some in your community would be watching, particularly the leaders who think that they actually represent the community, which perhaps they not. Many of them don't. But now I want Deshratan Nigam and Manaswi Thapar on this debate. To you, Deshratan Nigam first. You know, in Sarla Mudgal versus Union of India case, very famous one, a Hindu husband had contracted a marriage under Hindu law and then converted to Islam to get into a second marriage. And in that case, the Supreme Court had observed that till the time that we achieve the goal of a uniform civil code for all citizens of India, there is an open inducement to a Hindu husband who wants to enter into a second marriage while the first marriage is subsisting to become a Muslim. In a way, the Sarla Mudgal case substantiates what Vishnu Shankar Jain said, that there are some gaps which you plug and then you are fine. Let people and the communities continue with their respective customs, faith-based traditions, etc. There is no need for a UCC. Deshratan Nigam, you think that interpretation in the light of Sarla Mudgal is right?
Well, let me tell you, again, I have a lot of echo.
I'll ask the PCR to fix that. Okay, fixing. Deshratan Nigam, if you can continue with that, it's getting fixed in 10 seconds.
Okay. See, the fact remains that Uttarakhand government did a huge exercise and it studied the reforms taking place in Muslim countries as mentioned by Mr. Atikur Rahman. And that huge exercise was not done, and most of the people think that not much has gone into this making of these laws. Now, Sarla Mudgal's case is a progressive case, no doubt about it, where a Hindu tried to, take advantage and then converted into Muslim to get second marriage. But that was basically not allowed by the Supreme Court. And therefore, the two aspects that Mr. Vishnu Shankar Jain is talking about, only age and age of marriage and number of marriages. Let me go beyond that. Now, this is not about religion. Our constitution under Article 14 provides equality of the rights between men and women. When you focus on that Article 14, which is supreme, then you give equal rights to men and women. We see in certain communities that these rights are not there. These equal rights not being there. Therefore, this is about gender justice, preventing exploitation, and gender equality. Whether it is adoption, whether it is conditions of remarriage where halala comes into play, very derogatory practices, then adoption rights and equal rights in property. Why shouldn't there be equal rights in property for men and women? Please tell me that. Is it not discriminatory? It is not directly hitting Article 14 of the Constitution. It does. So therefore, we need to go beyond the two aspects that we are talking about. We need to have all-encompassing. When Muslim countries, which have been very traditional, have reformed themselves, why can't we? And Sanjeev Verma is absolutely right. 70 years too late. We are a progressive secular nation where certain laws which govern the personal relationship between men and women and inter se rights of men and women, then we do require these UCC. It is not that injustices should not go. It should go. We living in a modern and progressive nation. We must remember that we should not go back to the Stone Ages where there were different circumstances altogether in the world. We have to. Nobody's interfering in matters of faith. Please remember. Nobody is telling you whether you should marry in this manner or that manner. It is not touching that. It is only touching the certain rights where the women are not equal to men. And therefore, Article 14, in my opinion, should take precedence over rest of the problems that a lot of communities have. Communities must come forward and themselves reform also. But if they do not, then it becomes the duty of the elected representatives to make laws. It is their duty because that's the feedback they have. Communities, individuals cannot be considered in isolation. Yeah. They are a part of society. We are a part of progressive society. And therefore, it is the need of the hour. And Uttarakhand has done a huge amount of exercise studying Muslim countries, the reforms that have taken place. And therefore, I think there should not be any doubt on this, that we do require a uniform civil code. And actually, during the time when in the 50s, when the Hindu marriage and succession and all acts came, it was actually a uniform civil code to be applied to all.
Okay,
but politics and appeasement took place, and it was only applied to Hindus.
Okay, Deshratan Nigam. You know, I have to go to Manasvi Thapar and also, of course, Anirban in a bit. But to Manasvi first and then Anirban. Manasvi, if you say that you are against the rollout of UCC, there is a clear and present danger on your screen that you might be found to be even more backward-looking than Atikur Rahman. He was upfront and honest that UCC is needed. Maybe the details can be discussed. And he said that maybe the Muslim community has not reformed. He admitted that the Muslim community has not reformed in the manner it should have since Sayyid Ahmad Khan. Manasvi, on that 10, how do you say that India does not need uniform civil code?
Abhishek, allow me uninterrupted time, the kind of time you have given to others.
I'm doing that with everyone, Manasvi.
Yeah, thank you, Abhishek. I feel BJP is not very serious about uniform civil code. Why do I say that? Is because I just read the last 3 manifestos of the BJP. 2014 manifesto, page number 41, they talk about UCC. 2014 to 19, nothing done on UCC. 2019, page number 37 of the BJP manifesto, they talk about UCC, nothing done on that part also. Again, then comes to 2024, page number 54 of the manifesto of BJP, nothing done on UCC. So BJP wants the debate on UCC to be there. BJP is not serious about UCC. Why do I say that? Is because of their past experience of last 10-11 years. They have done nothing on ground on UCC. UCC is a very important law. It needs all the sects of the country to come together, all cultural, religious background people to come together, because it's a great exercise for this country to move from personal laws to a UCC. But is BJP serious about it, or they just want debates after every election? So just before a Lok Sabha election, they'll bring up UCC is going to be a reality. But the reality is, do you have a committee on UCC? Do you have an intent on UCC? Do you want to have a UCC, or you want UCC just to be a part of your manifesto in 2029 also? That's the blatant truth of UCC and BJP. If you are really committed about UCC, you would have formed the committee in 2014. No work done from 2014 to 9. You can blame the Congress, but what about your intentions on UCC? What is your commitment on UCC?
Abhishek.
You just want debates to happen. You don't want real action on ground to happen. There are grey areas in personal laws which overlap each other, but we want to have a clear-cut understanding. Where is your mandate going towards UCC? Where is that reality coming from BJP? They will criticize the Congress, they will criticize the Muslims, but on ground, nothing is happening.
Manasvi, thank you so much for bringing some spark in the debate in the 37th minute, because you have made a direct charge at the BJP, and Sanju Verma would be very interested in giving a rebuttal. Sanju Verma, in fact, it seems that you are getting into a minority of one now, because everyone wants to put the onus now on the BJP, including Manasvi, who initially I thought was against the UCC, but says it's for the BJP to get it. Why don't you bring the UCC in the next session of Parliament immediately after the budget?
You know, Abhishek, I'm used to doing debates 1 versus all. 1 versus 7, 8, 9, 10, I really don't care. The more the merrier. But I think Mr. Deshratan Nigam is on, my side or our side, and so is Savio. And even Mr. Vishnu Shankar Jain, he just put some nuanced arguments, but he did not say that UCC ko lock, stock and barrel, khidki se bahar phenk daliye. He never said that. And even Mr. Atikur Rahman, he suggested some nuances. He did not say that as a concept UCC is fallacious. But I will come to the moot argument. I'm glad Manasvi has, taken the bull by the horns and said BJP khali chunav ke dauran aa jati hai, bhashan deti hai, UCC layenge, kuch hua nahi. Now let me tell Manasvi one thing. For the very first time, your audience needs to know, UCC as a concept was introduced when the British were in power in 1835 and then by the B.N. Rao Committee in 1941. But it was Pandit Nehru in 1952 who introduced the Special Marriage Act. And he said on the floor of the Parliament that the SMA 1952, which is how it is called, SMA 1952 is a precursor to Uniform Civil Code, which my government intends to implement. But what happened between 1952 and 2014, for the longest time when the Congress was in power, Pandit Nehru, his daughter Indira, Indira's son Rajiv, then Rajiv's acolyte Manmohan Singh, what happened was, driven by visceral hatred for Hindus and wanting to cater to Muslim vote bank, in a stark case of appeasement politics, the Congress party did away with its UCC manifesto, which was announced way back in 1952. So my first point to Manaswi is, BJP ko bhashan dena band kariye. Please, now I did not heckle you. In 1989, we first spoke of Ram Mandir in the Palampur resolution. Ram Mandir banakar dikhaya. आप लोगों ने बोला आर्टिकल 370 will never be abrogated during our lifetime. नरेंद्र मोदी ने करके दिखाया. You said CAA will never be implemented. नरेंद्र मोदी ने करके दिखाया. So please don't give bhashan or integrity certificates to Narendra Modi-led government.
Well,
now my final point. Why are you getting rattled? I did not even heckle you once. No, I will answer what I need to say. I will not say what you want me to say, but you say what you wanted to say. So keep quiet now. Let me finish. Abhishek, please ask this man not to give me background music. I did not heckle him.
But quickly, because I have to get Anirban also. Sanju, you will get another chance, but complete this point.
I will just finish. I will tell you one thing. When did the controversy around UCC actually arise? It arose in 1973 when the All India Muslim Personal Law Board, which actually is just an NGO, which was set up by Rahul Gandhi's grandmother, Indira Gandhi. It is a Sunni outfit. It does not represent Ahmadiyyas. It does not represent Bohras. It does not represent Shias. These guys said that UCC is anti-Islam, anti-Muslims. And
Abhishek, you'll have to give me 10
UCC
seconds.
became a Hindu versus Muslim issue. It is not a Hindu versus Muslim issue. It does not destroy diversity. It does not destroy plurality. All it says is, within the larger ambit of gender justice, let us have a set of civil laws where personal laws run subservient to the Indian Constitution. And I don't think Manaswi knows more than Mr. Chandrachud or Justice Kehar or Justice K.M. Joseph or
Obviously.
Justice Nazir. So don't give me
Abhishek, you'll have to allow me. But
No.
Abhishek,
So, Manaswi, I'll come to you, but I have to get Anirban into this. Anirban, I'll come to you, Manaswi. Hold on. I'll come to you. Anirban, just about last week, we had those pictures coming in from Bengal of a flogging. You know who I'm talking about. Tajamul and alias JCB. I mean, even the Trinamool was uncomfortable with those pictures, obviously. But what is important is, Anirban, that one of your leaders, sitting MLA, said that in Muslim Rashtra, this is kosher. This is allowed. You know, those pictures, and I would want Aditi to put them on air, are almost a copy of what happens in Afghanistan. Taliban-like justice being delivered in Bengal, Anirban, and that's because there is a section of population in Bengal and in the rest of the country which believes that, so far as they are concerned, Sharia should be supreme, not the constitution, not the civil laws of the country, common laws of the country, Anirban. Specific to Bengal, how would you respond?
Arrested by the police in the evening, right on the day the video came to light. He was arrested. And regarding criminal acts, there are all the acts that there are, they are uniform in nature, except for the section 494 that Advocate Jain referred to. Therefore, in this case, it's not about the Sharia or the Manu Sanghita or anything. When it's an act of criminality, whether you belong to this religion, that religion, no religion, doesn't matter, you are going to be treated the same. But what we are speaking about is the non-criminal acts, the customs, the religious, social customs that we have, the Succession Act, etc., where the UCC is relevant and comes in as a pertinent point today, because the state of Uttarakhand has already rolled out the UCC. The High Court from Maharashtra, they have given a particular judgment, and therefore when we are discussing UCC, the problem lies in that in the directive principles of state policy, there is a word that the government must endeavor to bring in or implement UCC, not thrust upon, not force down the throat of the common people of whatever they think like. And that is the exact characteristic of this Modi government. Right from 2014, they are absolutely not interested in any kind of debate.
Sanju has responded to that, but my question is, what's your position? What's your position? You can't chicken out of this. And I have to be very point blank about it.
The fact of the matter is that
Atikur Rahman admitted that there has been some element of resistance and even obstructionism from the Muslim community, essentially as a product of failure of the community to produce reformist leaders of the like of Sir Syed Ahmad Khan in this century or the last one, in fact, because Sir Syed Ahmad Khan was in the last century. So, Anirban, can you really enunciate Trinamool's position on whether Sharia should be having precedence over India's constitution, like it seems to be happening in the case of Bengal?
No. Why are you saying that in the case of Bengal, Sharia is taking precedence?
Because one of your MLAs said that in Sharia it happens, it has to be accepted. He's on record.
No, absolutely not. No, he didn't. He never said that. That
he said in Muslim Raj this happens.
Had been arrested in the evening.
No, I'm not talking about Tajamul alias JCB. I'm talking about the MLA, the area MLA who shielded Tajamul.
No, he did. Whatever he shields or not, the police arrested that person. Just because he is from a particular religious community, he was not given a free hand. He was arrested, and that is how our country works. That is how West Bengal works. In the case of a criminal activity, nobody is spared just because he will be from a Muslim community, Hindu community, Christian community. You think the police will spare him? No, that has never happened. That will never happen. But when we are speaking about the UCC, the state, that is the government, must initiate talks, must initiate debates and discussions with all the social organizations, the religious organizations, and also the political parties. This government is not interested in any kind of discussion. They will suspend 150 MPs from the opposition and bring in the new criminal laws. They are going to suspend the other opposition MPs and bring in the farm laws. They are going to suspend the entire house of Jammu and Kashmir, put the leaders under house arrest and abrogate Article 370. This is the basic fundamental characteristic of the BJP government. They are absolutely not interested in any kind of
Anirban, I am still not clear about the Trinamool position on the Uniform Civil Code.
Order has crumbled under Mamata Banerjee.
Anirban, I am still. Sanju, I'll come to you.
We as a country first need to know. Sanju, don't misbehave. Don't misbehave.
Anirban, don't get personal. I am still to be enlightened about.
No, I did not interrupt her.
Absolutely. Sanju, please don't interrupt. Sanju, I'll give you the opportunity. Please don't interrupt. I am asking a question to Anirban. Anirban, I am not enlightened.
Has failed.
Sanju, I'll come to you. Sanju, he did not interrupt you. Sanju, he did not interrupt you. Anirban,
no,
I am still to be. I'll come to you, Sanju. You rebut his lie when it comes to you. When I come to you. Sanju, you rebut his lie. You call the bluff of his lie when I come to you. Sanju, you call the bluff of his lie when I come to you. But Anirban, you please. Anirban, you have to.
In broad daylight, you're parading Hindu women naked in broad daylight, and you have the audacity to lecture the BJP.
Mamata Banerjee is
a chief
Are you talking about Manipur?
You talk about
Are you talking about Manipur? Are you talking about Shatrughan Singh? Who are you talking about?
Who
are you talking about?
Anirban.
Go and visit your double engine Manipur.
Naked in Barakpur. You paraded BJP
Sanju will interrupt everyone. She will misbehave with everyone and then play the victim card.
Muslim women.
This is a standard operating procedure. She will disturb everyone and misbehave with everyone.
Sanju.
And then suddenly play the victim card.
Sanju.
We need no sermons from outsiders like you. About Bengal, we don't need any sermons from outsiders
Yusuf Pathan is an outsider or insider. But Sanju, please, last 5 minutes.
The BJP with its anti-Bengali agenda is an outsider.
Sanju.
The BJP with its anti-Bengali agenda is an outsider.
Mamata Banerjee is limited to one state, West Bengal.
People like Sanju Verma are anti-Bengali to the core. They hate Bengal, they hate Bengalis.
Baba, Shama Prasad Mukherjee was Bengali.
And whatever happens or not happens in Bengal.
Okay, Sanju, please. Sanju, please.
These are politics of hatred.
Sanju, pull back. I am left with just 5 minutes. We have had a fantastic conversation.
She cannot tolerate a Bengali speaking on your channel. This is a real character.
When will Mamata Banerjee resign? She has failed as a chief minister. Batao kab resign.
You are an anti-Bengali. You hate Bengalis. Sanju Verma. I tell you on your face, you hate Bengalis.
आपके certificate की जरूरत
Your
नहीं है मुझे.
your
आपके
impatience is
certificate की
exposed every
जरूरत
time a
नहीं है.
Bengali
Yes, I'm
speaks.
impatient.
Sanju, please pull back. Anirban, pull back. I am left with only 4 minutes. I am left with only 4 minutes. We have had a fantastic conversation.
Abhishek, I'll give you a very straight answer.
Yes.
I'll give you a very straight answer.
Yes, focus on that, please.
Let the government initiate talks, debates and discussions with everyone concerned and let them put the draft of the UCC before the public.
Okay, fair enough.
Let us observe
fair enough.
what are the exact details that the
The dialogue is what the Trinamool says. We need
no draft, there is no written draft.
Anirban is not outrightly junking the Uniform Civil Code. But I am left with only 3-4 minutes. I want to come back to Atikur Rahman and Vishnu Shankar Jain and Savio, that's where I began. Manasvi, I'll come to you. I'll try. You see, in the Atikur Rahman, this is to you. The Uniform Civil Code, which is now being implemented in Uttarakhand, has certain principles. Like on the issue, because Anirban was saying that on the personal laws, there are some conversations that should happen. Now, look at the provisions. No preferential right has been given to heirs related by full blood or those related by half blood. Equal rights to both the parents, that is the mother and the father. It applies equally to all kinds of properties, whether movable or immovable. Also, securing of rights of inheritance for children born through surrogacy or assisted reproductive technology, in a way adoption also. Now, this is the new reality of our times, surrogacy, for example, Atikur Rahman. And in fact, when it comes to adoption, for example, even Prophet Muhammad was so reformist. So, I mean, you are the Islamic scholar, I am not. If these kind of reforms come in inheritance laws, for example, why should the Muslim community object?
Abhishek, there are a lot of ambiguities presented as far as the Islamic point of view goes with inheritance and such laws. What the Quran says is under no circumstances anybody and in particular the women's rights be abused. What our Supreme Court pointed towards UCC is the same as the prophetic tradition ensures, that if at any point a woman's rights is abused, that won't be accepted. And that's why I said a uniform civil code based on gender justice and gender equality will be having a very, very good, acceptability across the country. What the UCC in Uttarakhand does, first of all, it is not a uniform civil code, it's a Uttarakhand civil code. Uniform civil code will be only when it is across India without any discrimination, without giving any leeway to any community, any tribe, any caste.
Okay, fair enough.
Otherwise, it won't be a uniform civil code.
Okay, fair enough. Vishnu Shankar Jain, quickly to you. Sanju Verma says that you are actually not throwing out baby with the bath water. You actually agree to a code which sort of accommodates some of the concerns that the Hindu community had. Can you quickly narrate those two concerns which, if accommodated, make uniform civil code more acceptable?
See, first of all, we have to understand that when we are talking about uniform civil code, the binary from which I am looking at uniform civil code is that it is a first step towards population control. It's the first step towards controlling the demographic changes. It is the first step which can stop religious conversion. This is the three subline issues on the binary of which I am looking at the uniform civil code. And it is at that juncture I have said that number of marriage and age of marriage are the two areas where we need to bring uniformity, because under Article 25, the right to religion is subject to public order, health and morality. But so far as other aspects are concerned, let me be very clear. Let me be very, very clear that whatever you do for the benefit of Muslim community, they are not going to vote for the BJP. So what happened after bringing triple talaq? Let me ask a question to myself. Did the members of the Muslim community vote for the BJP? Did the members of the Muslim community vote for the progressive development which the BJP is enshrining for the country? No. So what you are doing, what you are going to do by bringing changes and reforms so far the aspects of Muslim community is concerned. And I am saying again and again that so far as Uniform Civil Code is concerned, we have to look at from the binary of population control, religious conversion and demographic change, not anything further.
Okay, fair enough. That actually, friends, gives you an idea of the kind of complexities that are involved in the Uniform Civil Code debate. Unfortunately, I really ran out of time. I would have wanted to go back to Savio once and Manusri also once, but I can't do that for want of time. Thank you so much, Sanju Verma, Teshratan Nigam, Savio Rodriguez, Vishnu Shankar Jain, Lokesh Jindal, Atikur Rahman, Manaswi Thapar and Anirban for joining us in this conversation. My view is, friends, that the complexity of a Uniform Civil Code rollout is still to be unspooled. It would be in the fitness of things that the government and the BJP take it upon themselves in right earnest to go down to the masses, have as many consultation meetings as possible. In fact, when the Uttarakhand Code was being rolled out and the meetings and consultations were going on, I went to attend one of them. And interestingly, a great majority of Hindus present there had concerns. They asked whether they would be allowed to have their marriages under the Mitakshar law or the Dayabhag law. It's not a Hindu-Muslim issue, not at all. It is about gender equality. It is about bringing in progressivism. It is not about uniformity of some small laws here and there. It is about creating a uniform citizenry of India looking ahead to a modern, progressive, developed nation. That's what should be the objective for every one of us, citizens, the government, the political parties, those concerned about a future prosperous India. Let's move ahead in that direction. Thank you so much, friends, for joining us this Friday night. Have a great weekend.